What is up, everybody? It's Talking That Talk with Kiefer and Krieger. I'm Kiefer, he's Krieger. We got our Friday episode. Today is January 29th, 2021. Our weekend lookout. It's going to dive into things that happened today, yesterday, and what to expect this weekend. Well, not what to expect, but what's happening this weekend. Um, we'll start with some Cubby news. We signed two guys, Jock Peterson and Cole Stewart. Peterson 1 year, $7 million. Cole Stewart major league contract 1 year, around $700K. Another thing is today. It's funny how we talk bad about what the fuck they're doing on Wednesday, and then Ricketts make us look like a little bitch. Signs two guys, and increases the payroll and reshape the division because they view it as winnable, and says that they are not done spending, which is I'm fine with it. I'm completely fine with it. I'm glad it's happening because it needs to. But why do you wait until the end of January to start making moves? I get you want free agency to die down, but the free agency the last couple of years has been a fucking what's the dog race in Alaska? I Iditarod, isn't that what it's called? It's as long as that, dude. It's slow. It's drug out. Nothing happens. There's no major events till the end. Then like, oh yeah, it's done. Welcome to spring training. Um,
Talking back to Jock Peterson, there was also rumors today that came out that he was a pretty potential fit for the White Sox. The White Sox kind of
he turned
they're
down a contract from him.
and yeah, they offered him 10 million to be the everyday right fielder. Um, they wanted that's kind of they signed Adam Eaton again, but he doesn't have a bat. Like we said, you got to be able to hit in the big leagues. And they offered Jock Peterson 10 million for 1 year, and he turned it down. And
Took
ended up,
$3 million less to be on the other side of Chicago.
yep. So it's gonna take a lot to learn to like him because just being a Dodger for the past couple
I
years
hate
and
the
then
Dodgers, but that
yeah,
dude fucks, and
he's
he's
good.
fucked since he
Don't
came
get
in
me
the
wrong.
league.
Oh yeah,
I'm already
don't
on
get me
board.
wrong.
I'll buy a jersey. I'll buy a
I
jersey
am
tonight.
happy. I am happy with
Signing.
the signing. I think it's definitely a good addition to our outfield that we don't really know what's gonna look like right now. In the field we're getting rid of Schwarber, we're kind of that's where our lacking point is. I definitely say is our outfield, but only left. I think happened. I mean, Hayward's gonna give you a Gold Glove year just about every year. Haps, like we've talked about, has filled his role, filled his shoes that he needed to. Cole Stewart, he's veteran, right?
Who had a great 2019 season and sucked last year because he was injury plagued, which is a lot of what the Cubs did last offseason was signing veteran arms who either came off injury or sucked the year before so they could get him for a bargain. I get it. Cole Stewart has a lot of potential to help the bullpen and realistic. This is a complete 180 from Wednesday's talk. But if the Cubs can sign another reliever or two, say they bring
Or
back
just not back
Jeffries,
Jeffrey.
sign
Bring him,
another
bring him back.
veteran reliever for a short salary, that bullpen doesn't look bad. It can shape up to be something good. Talking about arms for the Cubs this weekend, I think today Arrieta and Samardzija threw bullpens with the Cubs are at both, and then Mike Fuldenovich.
Fulton.
Fuldenovich. That's a mouthful. If we say that wrong, correct us. We tried right before we started to learn how to say it. I think he's throwing tomorrow, and there's been reports that the Cubs are going to be there as well. These are three guys that would immensely help the rotation.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
So you think with going to see all these bullpens and going to check all these guys out, you think Hendricks is on his way out?
I don't know. I think
I mean, the fact that they're increasing the payroll because they view the division as winnable, I don't think they make any more core moves.
no.
I think all they do is make signings, um, and I think like you said, they throw in another arm in the bullpen. They sign one
Two,
of
they
those
signed,
three guys,
or even
two
two of
out
them.
of three.
2 out of 3 of them.
Yeah, I would be perfectly fine seeing Arietta or Samardzija throwing Kelly Blue in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Fultonevich is lefty, right? Zero.
I think he's already.
Well, while Zach takes a look on that, other baseball, former Cub Daniel Murphy, officially announced his retirement today from the MLB.
He's a righty, by the way.
Okay, he is a righty. He played for the Cubs for 1 year. They got him halfway through a year, and then he played another year with them.
And he killed us in the fucking NLCS when he was a Met.
He very much did.
He's a Cubby killer.
I actually went to his debut as a Cub in Detroit. He debuted against the Tigers, and I was at that game in Detroit. So that's kind of cool. Moving on from the baseball talk, kind of shift more into the NFL vibe now. Deshaun Watson officially requested a trade today. He has to, with his extension that he signed, they excuse me, they put in a no trade clause in it. So Deshaun Watson officially requests that trade. That way, the Texans can officially start, taking in offers. Although I'm sure they have been. Today, they also announced that they are going to go with a new head coach, obviously, David Culley. They brought in the GM, Nick Caserio, a little early January, where they've kind of been back and forth on what they want to do. Ended up going with Culley. And Culley, quote from him, he said, "The reason I'm in this position today is because I know," talking about Deshaun Watson, "I know he's going to be a Houston Texan." The GM then reflected back on that, and he said, "Organizationally, we want to reiterate our commitment to Deshaun Watson. We have zero interest in trading that player," which kind of is a big topic. I'll let Zach kind of give his thoughts about that real quick.
Huge topic, but ultimately, I mean, both sides have control. But if Houston says, "Fuck no, we're not trading you," all Watson has to do is say, "Hey, I'm not playing. I'm not playing until you guys trade me." So, essentially, the ball is in Watson's court. He has more control, I would say, over him playing sake. Right. The GM and organization have to say whether they're going to trade him or not, which 25-year-old quarterbacks like him, there's no big free agent quarterbacks. The biggest free agent quarterback in the last 10 years has been Kirk Cousins. Yeah. He's been the biggest quarterback free agent name in years. It doesn't happen. You have your rookie contract, you sign your rookie extension, they franchise tag you 1 or 2 years, they give you all this money, you're there for life until your last year, like Rivers. Right. So with Watson's capital, and obviously it's a new GM, they've shaken things up with the trades they've made before. I can't see them not trading him. I know people are like, "Oh, there's no chance Watson gets dealt now," with them making those statements. But like I said, at the end of the day, Watson doesn't want to play for Houston. He's not going to play for Houston. Whether he's got their jersey, he doesn't have to play. He can hold out.
I also, there was a lot of speculation saying that Deshaun Watson was going to control a lot of where he would go. And I don't think that's necessarily the case anymore. I think if the Texans find an offer for him, I think he wants out of Houston enough that he'll go anywhere.
Yeah.
I truly do.
With that situation, though, like I said, he's got the control and the amount. There's going to be a team that is going to give Houston whatever they want for them. They could say, "We want 4 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, your best offensive weapon, and this and that." And there's going to be a team in the league that says, "Okay, whatever you want." That's who we want.
You know who it's going to be?
It's going to be the Bears.
it's such a Bears thing to happen that they pass on him, and then they have to give up their next draft cap for the next fucking year.
They don't even talk to him. Those Clemson teams were unbelievable, and they don't even invite him in for a meeting.
Nope.
But it's in the past. I mean, I think the best thing for Bears fans, obviously, if they get him, that's huge for them. But offensively, if they get Watson before Robinson becomes a free agent, Robinson stays 1,000 times, 1,000,000%. And I think he deserves a shit ton of money. But
Oh yeah.
I think he'd be willing to take a pay cut to play with an elite quarterback.
I think so too. Especially in Chicago, dude. He loves it there. He
So-
loves it here.
Essentially, we'll say Watson gets straight to the Bears. You figure this year's pick, next year's pick, at least these two, and then the year after that. So 2021, 2022, 2023. Say that.
And give him Mitch. I don't care.
Mitch would probably be along with it. Well, I don't know because he's a free agent. Maybe Foles, throw him in there just because of the contract, which they need to do is get rid of that contract. But
Right.
it's a tough situation though for Bears fans because you have to think without the end of the year run that the Bears had that make the playoffs, Nagy and Pace are both out of there probably, and you would think that they're still on the hot seat, right? You would think that.
100%. But here's my thing: I think if they get Deshaun Watson, then I think Pace and Nagy kind of get their extension.
Get some new life.
Only because I don't know what GM is going to want to go into an organization that, I mean, yeah, they have Deshaun Watson as a quarterback. Congratulations, you have your franchise quarterback. But you don't have a first-round draft pick for the next 3 years.
That's what I'm saying. That's where you kind of throw it up there. Is this realistic?
I don't know. I would almost rather give up our first-round pick for like 2021, our second round pick for 2021, our third round pick for 2021, and then throw in a first or second round for next year. Just so that way you're fucked in one draft. Just one. Because you make a franchise move like that, and it sets you up for the next 3 or 4 years without having a first. I mean, the Bears already got rid. There's only been like 8 trades that have involved 2 first-round picks.
Yep.
And the Bears are one of them with Khalil Mack. And would I make that trade again? Absolutely, 100%, 100 times over, yes. But I don't think the Bears are in a position, A, in their front office, or B, with their cap, or C, just as a team, to give up that much draft capital to get a quarterback that, yes, he's going to be there. Yes, he's going to be there for a while. But you got to think, it depends on if Allen Robinson doesn't stay, your receiving core is hurting.
It's not terrible though. There's been worse receiving cores. Look what he did with his.
Right.
Look what Watson did in Houston this year. Miller's better. Miller's not better than Will Fuller, but Miller is better than the rest of the receiving core. And Mooney proved the second half of the season that he could be a force to reckon with. And it's Patterson. It sounds like Patterson wants to stay. So there's another receiver. But you got to think the defense is no. He can't
run routes. He's a big fuck. Like he's big. He's a big receiver.
He's
big
quick.
Guy. You throw.
He's a decoy. He's a decoy.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And with him, Mooney, you throw Mooney in the slot, line him up on the same side. I mean,
It's a decent little core.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't afford to get rid of Deshaun or of Allen Robinson, dude. You can't do it. He's such an elite receiver, and
look,
an elite receiver like this in Chicago was Brandon Marshall. I wouldn't even count Alshon Jeffrey as an elite receiver. He had a good couple years in Chicago, but he was nothing. He was nothing compared to Brandon Marshall.
No, Marshall was elite in his time frame, but you got to think of. Look at the numbers Hopkins put up with Watson. And obviously I think Hopkins is a little bit better than Robinson, but you got to think of the possible ceiling for Allen Robinson given the level of quarterback play. Give him Watson. He's no doubt top 5 in the league, and we've said this before. I will say that and argue that till I'm blue in the face. That dude's a top 10 receiver. That dude's a top 6, 7 receiver without a quarterback. But you give him a good quarterback, obviously give him a whole year, give him 16 games. I personally think he's going to have, it might be like Stephon Diggs. Diggs went to Buffalo, got a way better quarterback. And I know Kirk Cousins is an MSU boy. I like him, but he's not great. He's above average quarterback. But
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Jefferson.
I don't. Diggs didn't like being secondhand fiddle with Thielen.
Yeah.
Which
Diggs had to be number 1.
He wants to be number 1. That's why he went. That's why Buffalo was the best choice for him. He's number 1. There's not even a close number 2. I mean, Beasley played really well this year, but there's no close 2. He's the number 1 guy.
He's more of a slot guy, anyways.
Exactly. He's the number 1 guy. He's getting your deep balls. He's getting anything down the field. But you give Robinson a whole year with a good quarterback, I think he's going to have numbers like Diggs had this year. But we talked about that a lot longer than I expected. Some baseball news. Ken Griffey Jr., the kid, will serve as a senior advisor to the commissioner with an emphasis on baseball operations, youth development, and improving diversity at all levels of the game, which is huge. They need more former players working with the MLB. They need to.
I mean, the commissioner in general, I can't fucking.
He needs out. He needs to be gone. We can get into that. Him another day. He's an idiot. Well, Griffey, 22 seasons, 13 years with Seattle, 9 with Cincinnati, 1 with the White Sox. Inducted in the Hall of Fame in 2016. He was the 1997 AL MVP, 13-time All-Star. 92, he won the All-Star Game MVP, 10 Gold Gloves, 7 Silver Sluggers. Just phenomenal player, one of the best ever. That's huge for baseball. It's a step in the right direction. They need to fix their marketing more than anything. They need to fix the blackout restrictions. There's no reason that we're 3 hours away from Detroit. Now, I'm not a Tigers fan, but if there's a team playing the Tigers that I'm interested in, why am I blocked out?
Right.
I mean, some people have Fox Sports Detroit where you get every Tigers game, every Red Wings game, all that, all the Pistons games. But with the way cable and stuff's changing, the only option's MLB TV, and if there's a game in Detroit, we can't watch it. We get blacked out.
Yeah.
So, marketing and just look at the other brands, dude. An NFL highlight happens, something amazing happens in the NFL. That is on Twitter like this. Mike Trout makes one of the greatest catches ever, and it's not talked about for a couple weeks. You don't see it anywhere for months. NBA, poster dunk, a half-court shot to win the game. That is immediately online. Everyone's talking about it. It's getting shared. It's sad because, I mean, people think baseball is boring, which, idiots. But they don't market it like the other 2 sports, and it's sad. It's a shame because
I think it also has to do with, they play the longest season of the year. They're playing more than they're not in the course of their season.
Yeah.
I think just if you don't love baseball, you're not gonna sit and be able to watch it and
every day. I mean, if you like baseball, you're gonna catch a game probably once or twice a week.
I when the Cubs are going. If I'm not listening to them, I'm watching them.
Exactly.
That's just how it is.
If they're on and I can watch, I'm watching.
Yeah, 100%. And like you said, I don't. I mean, the Cubs with Marquee Sports Network and stuff now, it's hard to find their games everywhere else. It's hard to find their games on MLB TV sometimes because of it. And it like you said, it just doesn't make sense. Other baseball news, there have been some rumors with Nolan Arenado possibly going to St. Louis. There were kind of, little speculations here and there that he might leave the Rockies. He's a fucking stud himself. I'd put him, just behind Chris Bryant in terms of top baseball or top third baseman in the league, if not above him, just because of his bat past years. And he's always making highlight plays down at third base. But that'll bring us on to the topic of the Cardinals in general. Um, yeah, as a Cubs fan, the last decade hasn't been all that good for the for the to be in the same division as the Cardinals. Last decade they got just above a 500 winning percentage, 6 playoff appearances in the last 10, 5 NLCS appearances, 2 World Series appearances, including a win in 2011, and they have 9 out of 11 first or second place division final or finishes. So they either finished first or second in 9 out of the last decade, 2010 to 2020. They finished first or second 9 out of 11 times, which is absolutely insane. How do you think they're going to do this year? You think they're going to? I mean, it just feels like no matter what they do, they're always in the hunt. They're always in the hunt for either a wild card or they're pushing. I mean, they're in the division a lot.
They play good baseball when it matters, and that's the difference between them and a lot of teams in the league, and why they've been so successful as of late, within the last 20 years, since 2000, you would say. But even
that's not even counting those teams with Pujols.
Exactly. They're never out. Like September rolls around and they're 6, 7, 8 games out of first. They're gonna fight you tooth and nail until the end of the season, and they're going to get a playoff spot, whether it's the wild card or they're gonna sneak first place out of you.
That's 2011 when they won the World Series. They were down 10 games going into September or something like
something
that?
Ridiculous. They played good. They played good baseball when it matters, and that's just something that I hate because it's the Cardinals. But you have to respect at the same time, because no matter who they have on the field, besides Yachty and Goldschmidt, I mean, they signed Holiday when he was at the top of his market. He had a couple good seasons with them, but what big names have he was a playoff hero,
right?
Like big names have they brought in besides Goldschmidt?
I don't think they've really brought in anybody.
They signed
Matt Carpenter came from their farm system. I'm pretty sure Wainwright did too. Flaherty came from their farm system. I mean, a lot of their big name players throughout their runs have been on their pitching staff. Which I mean, you have to have an ace or two, but it almost seems like the rest of the team just. I mean, there's some Cardinals teams that literally I would be playing them midway through July, early August, and I'd have no fucking clue who these people were.
Half the guys are on the team, yeah, and you don't really hear about their big name prospects either. Like Dylan Carlson this year was probably the biggest prospect name that they've had, that they've talked about. Oh, this guy's heating up. He's going to come up in no time. When in the last 10 years have you heard of Cardinals prospects being in the top 100, top 10, making names for themselves before they even come up? Which obviously not every team's going to have those guys. You're just going to bring up, say, hey, you're coming up. We're giving you a shot. They make the most of it. Then they turn into an everyday name. Obviously, 90% of the time, it's guys who, like Chris Bryant, you heard about him. You drafted him. You heard every time he moved up. They talk about him coming up. He finally comes up. It's a huge debut. But you got other times where these guys just slowly work their way up, get up to AAA. They have a good half season in AAA. Team that's not necessarily in the hunt say, all right, it's August. Your season's done. Come up. You're gonna get some experience. That's what it seems the Cardinals do.
And what doesn't really make sense to me is they don't, like you said, they don't have the players that you draft and you watch them you follow them through their minor league career. Like Chris Bryant, I remember the day they drafted Chris Bryant. I remember the day they drafted Kyle Schwarber. I remember the day they drafted Albert Almora. I remember
Baez, when they drafted Contreras.
Cody, Contreras, like all of them. Like I can remember them getting drafted and be like, "Ooh, yeah, I'm kind of excited about that."
Even if you're a big baseball fan, but you don't follow the Cardinals, so I've been keeping track a lot more with other teams the past couple years. But if I'm a casual baseball fan, I got no fucking clue who Dylan Carlson is. He's the best
Yeah.
prospect they've had in years. And if you're not a St. Louis fan or an avid baseball fan that dives deep into moves and stuff like that, you got no clue who this guy is. Like everybody knew who Chris Bryant was when he came up. Everybody knew who.
And it
Uh,
was a big deal,
everyone
too.
knew who Trout was when he came up. Everyone knew who Bryce Harper was when he came up. All those big names you hear about.
Juan Soto.
Yes. We'll get off that topic because fuck the Cardinals. So this weekend, marquee NBA games. Friday, we got the Bucks at the Pelicans. Brooklyn at OKC. KD is out tonight. KD will not play. Real quick, Yachty is going to re-sign with the Cardinals. I don't know if you saw that today or not. It was about
I did not.
five-ish. He said he is going to resign. Back to basketball. Tonight's games: Bucks, Pelicans, Nets, Thunder. KD is out with an injury. Saturday's
You might have the MVP this year, dude.
yeah, it's kind of looking that
Might
way.
as well.
It's super early still, but yeah. Saturday's games: Portland at Bulls, Lakers at Celtics. Those are two good games. Obviously, the Bulls are there. How long's Wendell Carter out?
I was just about to talk about that. He's going to be out for at least 4 weeks. I can't remember if it was his back or his quad. I think it is.
I think it's his quad.
Um, yeah, he's. They drafted him. I was really excited when they drafted him. He looked really good coming out of college. He looked like a big brute force, but he hasn't been able to be healthy, and neither has Laurie. And it's very degrading that we passed up. Not that we passed up, but we could have made a trade last year to trade up to get fucking what's his name from Virginia, Wiseman, Andrew, whoever went to Golden State, right?
Yeah, Wiseman.
Yeah, that would have been like the Bulls. I don't know why have just had ever since. I mean, shit, since Joakim Noah kind of like left there, they haven't really had a very big dominant big man since.
No,
They had Robin Lopez there for a little bit, but I mean.
he's not the other.
He's
He's not
definitely the
He's not Brooke
lesser.
Lopez. Yeah, he's the lesser of the
Yeah,
Lopezes.
he's definitely the lesser of the Lopez. But they just haven't really been able. I mean, they have Thaddeus Young there now, but he's not ever going to see time at the 5. Like he'll either play the 3 or the 4. They just haven't been able to keep their big men healthy, and it kind of concerns me, being over and over and over again. But I mean, they're playing good basketball. They beat Portland earlier in the year.
It's still very early.
Oh, extremely early.
It's they're not even. I don't even think they're 20 games in yet.
No. But they're pulling. I mean, All-Star voting's open now.
Yeah.
Already starting today. So people are pulling for Zach LaVine to get a starter because
That
Jesus
dude's-
fuck, he
yeah.
was subbed last year. Or they didn't have one last year, did they?
They did the vote. No, they had it. They had the All Star.
Yeah, because it was before COVID, right?
Yeah, that was like one of the.
Shutdown?
Yeah.
Because it was in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So dive into Sunday's games, then we'll talk some college basketball.
Sunday we got the Clippers playing the Knicks.
The
It's
Knicks
gonna
have
be
looked
on NBA.
good.
Yeah, the Knicks have looked really good recently. Clippers are first in the West still, or they might be second.
They're first with the
I don't-
Lakers losing last night.
Okay, then they're back in first. That's gonna be a good game. The Knicks, like you said, they're playing out a little bit. They're showing up. Then we got a repeat or a rematch of last year's one of last year's bubble matchup playoff. Utah at Denver.
Two teams that
that'll
are
be a big game.
Utah, who's won. Have they won 10 straight?
I don't know. They're looking. They're playing
They've
very
looked great.
fast.
Yes, Rudy Gobert is. I mean, dude didn't
I
deserve
can't.
200 million. He's not that great, but he's looking good. Donovan Mitchell's looking really, really good. Denver's kind of just. They're playing decent basketball. They're not winning. They're not winning a whole lot of games. They're floating. I mean, but like I said, it's early. They haven't played 20 games yet. There's tons of time.
Mhm. So let's talk some pretty good college basketball. That's going to be a pretty big segment talking in the next couple months with March Madness, kind of seeing how they're going to do their bubble and stuff, and with all the games played and the schedule changes for March Madness. Tonight, I believe it just started a little bit ago. We got number 7 Iowa at number 19 Illinois. Big game just for the top 25 matchup. Also, big game just for the Big Ten.
Big Ten implications.
Yep, it's gonna definitely being a Michigan fan. They're 4th right now. Want to see Iowa lose. Get a little bit get a little bit more security, I guess you could say, in the Big Ten. I'm sure being a state fan on the outside looking in, probably are pushing for Illinois in this game.
Yeah,
or probably pushing for Iowa in this game. So Illinois drops down a little bit.
I just want Michigan State to start winning games again.
Yeah, they looked really good at the beginning of the year, and then
it's been shit.
Really know what happened.
I'm not blaming COVID protocols, but
right,
they can't stay in the schedule. You can't get in a groove. You can't get in a routine when you don't necessarily know when your next game is, when your next practice is going to be. It's difficult. They play Ohio State on Sunday, number 13 Ohio State. Hopefully they come out and play. That's all I'm saying about that. It's been disheartening as fuck to watch them play. They scored fucking like 38 points last night in a loss. Which is ridiculous. There's no reason you should score that little points in college basketball. Tomorrow, big game, number 9 Alabama versus number 24 Oklahoma. Love to see top 25 matchups. It's the best. College basketball is so fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. It's always so unpredictable too.
Yep, Indiana.
If you any team show up at any time.
Oh, exactly. That's why March Madness is as great as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana versus Michigan got canceled, postponed. We've got Virginia, number 8 Virginia versus number 20 Virginia Tech, and then 15 Kansas.
Big ACC matchup.
Yep, 15 Kansas versus 18 Tennessee. That is it for the college basketball, the top 25 games. Just a quick little Blackhawks recap. I lost 3-2 in OT to Nashville, and lost 2-1 in the shutout. They're giving up too many goals. Their offense doesn't look terrible, but they've been giving up way too many goals. It's hard to win games when you're giving up 3 to 5 goals every game, because it's a lot easier to win 1-0 than it is to win 6-5, 5-4.
And that's what the Blackhawks stink, but the Red Wings,
yeah,
the Red Wings, man. I'll tell you what. If you're a Red Wings fan, I'm feeling for you, because I was watching. I think they were playing the Avalanche the other day, and Jesus Christ, it was just not looking good all around. This weekend though, Blackhawks gonna have a 2-game series against the Columbus Blue Jackets. One tonight actually, and then one on Sunday.
Hopefully they at least split. At least take one.
Yeah. I believe it is in Chicago too, because the Bulls got the Saturday game, so I believe it's Friday Hawks, Saturday Bulls, Sunday Hawks.
Yep.
So busy weekend at the United Center in Chicago. A little more about some Chicago stuff. We do have our first guest for Cubs Talk booked. Gonna have our boy Jordan Petrie, buddy from high school, come on here. He's a big Cubs fan. Be able to shoot some shit about the Cubs. We'll also a little bit of NL with them. Talk about the Chargers. Talk about how he thinks
Fuck the Chargers.
Justin Herbert is. See how he is. How he likes Justin Herbert.
Oh, he's getting the ringer, dude. We're bringing up the receipts from draft night. That's Jordan, you're watching this. We're bringing up the receipts, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that being said, I think that's gonna call it for our Friday episode. Again, today is Friday, January 29th, 2021. This was Talking That Talk with Krieger and Kiefer. Anything to let them go, Zach?
Only thing that I got is continue to share, comment what you want us to talk about. We'll dive into things. Say you want us to talk about the Hall of Fame more, or you want us to talk about what's going on with Duke and Kentucky. Back college basketball. They're both teams are sucking so far this year. Say you want us to dive. Yeah, say you want us to dive into a specific topic. We'll dedicate 10-15 minutes on one of the shows during the week to talk about that. We want your input. We want your feedback. Comment concerns, questions, all that stuff, hit us up. Comment on our post, comment on the post, comment on YouTube. If you know us, you can directly message us. My messages are open. Krieger's are as well. With that being said, next week's schedule, we'll have our normal Monday episode, normal Wednesday, normal Friday, and then we will have Super Bowl Sunday episode. We'll try to get that out a lot earlier. We might record it Saturday night and post it Sunday morning around noon, depending on the situation, just what's going on. But 4 episodes next week. Obviously, Sunday will be a special. But I'm having fun doing this so far, and we appreciate the support. With that being said, we will see you guys on Monday. Peace.